Hey, welcome to Coffee and Hardcore Season 2, Episode 4. We're here. We made it. I know I say that every time, but I'm always surprised when we make it to a new episode. The episode is titled, I'm a level 5 vegan. I won't eat anything that casts a shadow.
I'm a level 5 vegan. I won't eat anything that casts a shadow.
Wow.
I'm Wiley Willis from Chicago, Illinois, with my trusty co-host,
Mick Cox from Parkersburg, West Virginia. And on this episode, we chat with Texan vegan hardcore band Vanguard.
That's right. I think the chat went really well. Both the Vanguard individuals were really well spoken and actually gave me a lot to think about. It really got me thinking about what they said and seeing it from the other flip, the other side of the coin. I'm glad we can think differently and be civil and have a good conversation, even though we think, I don't know. And I try and look at a point of view from every angle, but I am glad they gave me some things to really think about. Like both the Vanguard folks gave me some vegan food for thought. I really enjoyed that very much. And when we're presented with information, it's good to research it and grow from it. Anyways, it was a good chat, and I'm thrilled we got to talk to Vanguard. And I'm glad we got to talk to their camp about hardcore and about their other band as well.
Yeah, it was a good chat. And like you said, there's a lot of things that was brought up that we got to think about. And you'll hear it. I don't want to give anything away because it is a good conversation. I think it unfolds nicely. And I was a little nervous about having this conversation because they are, I don't want to say the word militant because that kind of paints a picture.
We thought they were from
their social media posts and stuff like that. So the conversation was really good and eye-opening, and it was good to hear from a different perspective and also know that, in the long run, good human beings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I agree.
Really good human beings. So it was a good conversation. I loved it.
They were nerds, which I like too.
Yeah. Total nerds. Yes.
And that's not a diss. That's a cool thing. That made me see them as like way cooler people.
Right. We're nerds too.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool because by like their social media look and everything like that, I was like, oh, these dudes are going to be like hard ass, tough ass dudes who are like, F you if you're not vegan. Shoot up a McDonald's. But like, they weren't like that at all. They were like, hey, what's up, guys? We're we're super cool dudes. We're into guns and we like video games.
Deal with it, nerds.
I was like, dude, these guys are awesome.
Yeah, it was a good combo. Yeah.
But it was April Fool's Day when we did the Vanguard chat, and a few days after my 40th birthday now, right? My birthday was Wednesday. So I'm officially over the hill old man hardcore. I had a great old man birthday. I got a weighted blanket, which I've wanted for a while. Ooh. That's how you know you're old man.
Yes.
I got to relax on my birthday, and Libby felt bad. She's like, "Are you sure you don't want to be doing anything for your birthday?" I'm like, "This is my 40th birthday. I want to sit on the couch with my weighted blanket, drink my coffee, and relax."
Yes. Yes.
And I also got the best and most ridiculous gift from the Mick Cox family. I got a Kool-Aid Man bling, 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 bling. What? Yeah. Okay. Necklace in the mail. I opened it up and it blew my mind. I think I laughed. I like giggled for probably 20 minutes straight. It is so funny. I want to show a picture of this, but I don't know how we can on the podcast.
You know what? We can when we post it on social
put a
media,
link.
We'll put a link to it, but we can also kind of maybe we can somehow incorporate it into the advertising or something.
I wonder, there's no way to like make the picture of this one episode that
we can. We can. Yep.
Just this one?
Yep.
Like on Spotify we can?
Yes. It'll come up as that.
That's what we're gonna do.
What you need to do, you take a picture of, because you do really good displays or whatever. You do it, and we'll totally make it like an Instagram post, the square, and it'll totally fit. Yep.
Done and done.
It'll be a special edition.
So one more thing I wanted to get into is on April Fool's Day, which was a few days ago, Harley posted that the original Age of Coral Cro-Mags were getting back together, and I freaked out. forgetting it was April Fool's Day. It said original Chromax getting back together. Click below for announcement dates. And I was like, yes. I clicked below and it was like April Fools. Dude, I seriously, my heart was like, oh.
When I saw those posts, I knew you were wigging out about it, and I was like, I know this has to be April Fool's. I did the same thing, but I was like, I knew if you saw it, you're gonna wig out.
Dude, I seriously had a mild seizure / heart attack, like for a split second. That was like the greatest, most hateful April Fool's joke ever. Anyways, we got album reviews. If I can take the marbles out of my mouth for you guys, we got Ill Communication, we got Stepping Stone, we got Power Alone, and we got my favorite, Glorious.
Yeah, and Wiley and I talk about coffee, of course, right? Yep. I review Unicorn Blood that Wiley sent me from Dark Matter Coffee, and then Wiley talks about Steaming Bean Coffee from Colorado that was sent to him from Jesse of Veritas Vinyl.
That's right. We are trying to time our segments. we did time our segments. It didn't work. But let's see if we can make it work. Let's see if we can cut this down. Let's see if we can cut the time down and get into the vegan meat of the podcast, if you will. Wah, wah, wah.
Let's get started. And hey, thank you guys for spending time with us on Coffee and Hardcore. And like we've been saying, if you like this, if you dig it, hey, share this with your friends, like it, follow us on Spotify, write a review on Apple Podcasts. No. More importantly, hey, if you dig this, share this with folks. It'd be awesome if you could do that. Crash Pots! All right, so it is that time of the show when we get down to business and we talk about coffee, because that's part of our name, right? Coffee and Hardcore. So we're going to talk about coffee. And this week we are once again talking about the coffee that we really enjoy, or coffee that we send to one another to try because we like it.
Yeah.
So,
and let's say that I'm finally drinking. This is the first time I'm drinking coffee on the show.
That's right, because we're doing this part in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's noon or 11 noon my I don't know what time is it. It's 11 my time, noon your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we usually do this at night.
Right.
And I don't drink coffee past 5. And we thought we were going to get the whole Vanguard episode. We thought we were going to whole shebang it, and we couldn't because it went too long. It went way too long. So this is the first time I'm drinking coffee on Coffee and Hardcore. And I'm drinking Up the Pups.
Nice.
By Oak and Crow. Yeah, and I was super excited, and I told my wife, I finally get to drink coffee on Coffee and Hardcore. And she's like, yeah, but it's Oak and Crow, and you talk about Oak and Crow all the time. I'm like, whatever.
Of course, I drink coffee all the time on the show, and right now I am drinking the Silver Bridge coffee, the Mothman Dark Blend.
But you're not allowed to review it.
But I'm not allowed to review that. So
because we got a special reviewer coming up to review it.
Right. So I'm actually going to review the coffee that you sent me from Dark Matter.
Yeah.
And
here in Chicago,
and it's very unique. It is, number one, the name is awesome. And so if the name's awesome, the look of the bag is awesome, the coffee's got to be good, right? Well, the coffee is out of this world and better than the bag and the name. The coffee is Unicorn Blood. It's their Unicorn Blood, the espresso blend that Dark Matter has. And I'm just going to read a little bit of the back of the bag because seriously, the packaging for the bag, the way it's laid out, even how they describe it, it's just out of this world.
Tell them about the packaging.
The packaging is, I don't even know how to explain it. It's got a unicorn on it with crystals coming behind it. There's a hand that's just kind of looks like it's giving a high five, but it has almost like this all-seeing eye with lightning bolts coming out of it. There's a droplet of blood falling down, and the colors of the blag. The colors
blag.
The colors of the bag are like purple, burnt orange, brown, like this silvery blue. I mean, it is
They did not hold back on that imagery.
no. Even the font for unicorn blood is in like this 80s sci-fi. It's awesome. But the way they just sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
I was telling you that I thought it had kind of like a Adventure Time kind of vibe to it, like when they zoom in and they do the, you know, because Adventure Time does the newer version of the Ren and Stimpy where they zoom in on things. It's like that. Like Ice King.
It's kind of a mix between that and when you're watching a really weird 80s movie where they do the psychedelic thing.
Yeah.
Like an 80s horror or sci-fi movie, and they kind of get weird and do the psychedelic.
Yep.
That's kind of like what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
But here's the description on the bag, and it's awesome. Immortal beings rejoice. Unicorn blood is a powerful concoction, stylized and scrutinized to be the best all-Americana espresso we can bestow upon the planet.
Boom.
But yeah, it is unbelievable. It has this, like we drank this bag so fast. What is it? Like 12 ounces? Yeah. This 12 ounce bag did not last a week. It was gone before the end of the week. It does have
crazy.
Like, it has this crazy sweet syrupy taste to it. Like, yes, it's dark. I know it's also espresso. I said it right. But it doesn't normally, when you drink a lot of stuff, like a lot of espresso, it kind of gives you a little bit of the jitters, but this did not give me the jitters. I could have drank like 4 cups of this in one day. And a matter of fact, I think I did.
Drank 4 cups in one day.
Yeah. I got a lot of stuff done, but I didn't have the jitters, and it was pretty good. Matter of fact, I think the week we busted this out was the week we were working on our garden and stuff in the yard. And I think I got a lot of stuff done.
That's good.
But it's good stuff. It lives up to the mythical beast of unicorn. You feel like you're drinking something that's special. Who was it? The celebrity that kind of went crazy and talked about how he would drink tiger blood.
I have no idea.
Gosh, who was that? It was some weird dude that was big in the 80s. And Charlie Sheen.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. So it's kind of
tiger blood.
It's better than tiger blood. It's unicorn blood. It's good stuff.
Dang, son. Rest in peace, Charlie Sheen's brain. What's up with Charlie Sheen?
I think maybe he had a little. We were talking about psychedelic experiences, what the bag looked like. I think maybe he had a little too many psychedelic experiences in the past.
Yeah.
So tell us about what you're reviewing.
I'm doing steaming bean coffee from Colorado.
Whoa.
It's the Guatemala blend medium roast.
Ooh.
It's cool too. The packaging is really cool because it comes in like a brown paper coffee bag with the logo and information stamped on it. It's like a very nice DIY.
Yeah.
Like they just took like the stamp pad and
nice
stamped that bitch right on there, and then filled the bag full of coffee and sent it out. Jesse from Veritas, our record label guy, sent this to me to try it out because he's a huge coffee head.
Nice.
So I, in return, sent him a bag of suicide prevention coffee and hardcore Oak and Crow coffee. He said he really liked it. It was the Road Crew because he's also a medium blend kind of guy.
Awesome.
But I have to say it's absolutely amazing coffee, for real. Amazing smell, smelled great in the grinder. And when I opened up the bag and just took a big sniff, and I was like, wow, this, you know how you can just tell it's going to be good coffee?
Right.
Like this is going to be good coffee. Because I've opened up some coffee that people wanted me to try, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I might regret this, but this is not that. It smelled very fresh and very earthy. I recommend this coffee 100 times over. No joke. I think you would actually really like it, but I think it leans like on the light medium side, so you might not like it at all. But I poured this coffee into my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle coffee mug that I got from a friend for Christmas. And that friend is you.
It's me.
It was smooth, fresh, full-bodied cup of coffee. I'd recommend it to the world. And I do want to thank Jesse from Veritas for sending it to me, and we'll put a link to it.
Oh yeah.
People can go and buy it, because I really think they should go and buy it.
Yeah. You know, isn't it one of the most wonderful things in the world when you get a new bag of coffee and you open it and it actually smells good and you're like, it's going to be good. It's like,
yeah,
it gives you just this warm, fuzzy feeling on the inside. Like, this is going to be a great thing.
For sure. Because I know I got a coffee that someone wanted us to try for the podcast, and I opened it up and smelled it, and I was like, oh no. And then and then I put it in the grinder, took a big sniff. I was like, double no. And then I poured it in and made it, waited, took a sip, and I was like, oh man. I contacted the person, and I was like, I don't think you want us to review this coffee. And he's like, really? I'm like, no. I don't think it's a good idea.
I know what
that person's, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because I think I got the same, because I got one too, and I felt the same way, and I felt bad. I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to. Well, I smelled it, and I was like, oh no. Well,
there's just no way I could have talked about it in a good way. Like, I know that sounds kind of shitty, but like, I have to be real,
Right.
I can't be like chugging it down with a sour face and be like, this is great. So I just contacted him and said, thanks, but no thanks.
Right. We're all about putting out the positive stuff.
Anyways, my wife did get me a subscription for my birthday. So I got to go pick 3 bags of coffee that I never tried before, and they're going to come to me each week.
Nice.
That was pretty exciting. I was kind of bummed at first because my brain is weird, and she's like, yeah, I got you this coffee subscription. You get to go through like 500 bags and pick what you want. I'm like, like, what, 500 bags? Like, what if I picked the wrong one and it's nasty? I feel like I wasted your money, And she's like, no, it's supposed to be fun. And I was like, okay, but it gave me anxiety. I know that sounds crazy.
That's funny. But hey, you get 3 bags of coffee to try.
Yeah. I don't like wasting things. And so it just I hope they're good.
If they're not good, you can share the wealth with somebody else that you know.
I'll send them to you.
Hey, this sucks. You can have it.
Cool, man.
Right.
Let's end it.
That's our coffee talk.
Boom, out. I'm going to get more coffee and then I'll be back.
Nice.
Fresh pots!
King Lear, late at night on the cliffs, asks the blind Earl of Gloucester, how do you see the world? And the blind man Gloucester replies, I see it feelingly. And shouldn't we all? Animals must be off the menu because tonight they are screaming in terror in the slaughterhouses, in crates and in cages. Vile, ignoble gulags of despair. You see, I heard the screams of my dying father as his body was ravaged by the cancer that killed him. And I realized I'd heard those screams before. In the slaughterhouse, their eyes stabbed out and their tendons slashed on the cattle ships to the Middle East, and the dying mother wail as a harpoon explodes in her brain as she calls out to her calf. Their cries were the cries of my father. I discovered that when we suffer as equals. And in their capacity to suffer, a dog is a pig, is a bear, is a boy.
Jump into it. Vanguard. We got Vanguard with us on Coffee and Hardcore. We're pretty excited for this. Let's welcome the guitar player and singer of Vanguard, correct?
That's right. Yes. How are you?
Okay, I'm doing good. You guys you can say your names or you can stay anonymous. I think you choose to stay anonymous. Is that right?
Yeah, we can just say we're the founding members of the band, and we respectively, I'm the vocalist, and this is the guitarist.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, let's jump into it. Y'all are from Texas, is that correct?
Not originally. Actually, I think every member except one is a transplant to the state.
Yeah, I'm originally from Wisconsin, and then I went to college in Las Vegas. I got my degree from UNLV, and then I moved here last year. Our other guitarist is from sorry, can we swear on here? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
But our other guitarist is a transplant from Missouri, from St. Louis. They are doing their PhD at the University of Houston. They moved here at the perfect time. Davis, our bass player, is born and raised in Dallas, right?
Yep.
And you,
Yeah, I was born in the Midwest, and then came to Texas for work, and I've just moved further and further south, and I've landed in Houston, not knowing anybody. I had like one friend here, and so it was really weird moving to a new city. And right when I moved here, Daniel from Die Young moved away, so I took a personal affront to that. Of I get to town, and then I'm so excited to finally get to hang out on a regular basis, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm out of here." So, so I didn't know anyone here, and I was super happy to connect with. We actually got connected to one another through a Magic the Gathering play group, and that's how we ended up being friends. And then we just stayed friends. Literally, like, we met once, and we were just like, "Yep, this is pretty natural." So
that's cool. Where for the Midwest are you from?
So I was born in Kansas, and then I grew up there, and then I went to school in Oklahoma and worked in Texas. So
Gotcha. That's cool. Do you guys? I don't know. I'm not really familiar with Texas scene, but do you guys get a lot of flack in Texas for being a vegan hardcore band?
not really. Like, we haven't gotten a lot of flack for being a vegan band, like, at all. And really, it's funny. Houston, as far as veganism and vegan culture goes, is one of the most diverse and vegan-friendly cities I've ever actually lived in.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, it's pretty much the same with all the metropolitans in Texas, like DFW, obviously Austin, San Antonio, are really all pretty vegan-friendly. So, I mean, as far as flack for being a vegan band, not as much as I thought we would. And just in general, like, you know, a lot of the presumptions, especially again in metropolitan areas surrounding veganism, are kind of dying a little bit.
Yeah. I think, honestly, talking about the transplant thing, I think that's a huge part of it. Not that there aren't native Texans that are doing cool shit. I'm not saying that, but I know that, like, Austin is almost entirely, it's like miniature LA, you know? It's like, it's just this gathering point for people from all over the country. And Houston, to a degree, is a large, sort of, I mean, for lack of a better term, it's like a cultural melting pot. It's the most, what did they say the other day on the news? It's the most culturally diverse city in the U.S. And I think we're either third or fourth largest city. So it's sort of like
It's fourth. It's about to be third largest city in the next couple of years.
Yeah, so it's weird because it's like, you think deep Texas and barbecue and those sort of things, and
Sure, that's what I thought. Yeah.
and chili and, like, the, you know, typical, like, Texan staples, which is still true, but the vegan culture, especially in Houston, is pretty
Immense.
Yeah, it's huge, and it would, like, really kind of blow your mind. And the cool thing about it is it's almost all of the establishments, I would say easily more than 70% of them are POC owned. and it's driven by the cultures that kind of mashed together into the city. So the Black vegan community here is huge, and the Asian vegan community is huge, and they are sort of like the two pillars of the city. Like I would say almost all of the vegan restaurants in Houston proper are either Black or Asian owned, and almost exclusively Black or Asian, like those same cultures, Black folks or Asian folks are the clientele too. So it's not like I've been to other cities where you go to, a vegan restaurant and it's like crutchy granola white people, you know what I mean? And it's definitely not the case here. It's like, it's really interesting. Like you go to a place that's serving cultural food that just happens to be veganized, and it's being enjoyed by folks who aren't even all vegan, but it's so good that they all are drawn to it anyways. And it's a pretty unique situation. I know Atlanta has similar situations. Like there's like a large vegan community there, and it's sort of the same thing. Like they serve cultural foods that are all just vegan versions of cultural staples. And it's for me, I'm in hog heaven. Like,
for real.
Like there's so much good food here. It's ridiculous.
Like we had vegan, like real vegan smokehouse barbecue last night. It was incredible.
Yeah. Shout out Houston Sauce Pit.
Well, yeah, even the vegan and vegetarian food nowadays is easier to come by, and it tastes a lot better.
Yeah, right.
Because late 90s, early 2000s, when I was eating a lot of vegetarian food,
trash,
brutal. like rubber vegan hot dogs.
Yeah, Boca burgers. Yeah, Boca, and Go Veggie slices that were just the worst rubber garbage.
Yeah, it was like heating up plastic.
Yeah.
Business.
Yeah, honestly, but I mean, you know what? Sometimes I like to slum it and like get some like shitty vegan hot dogs and like put them in baked beans and eat like I'm a garbage person again.
That's awesome. So I'm going to ask this question. I already know the answer to it because of the other band that you're in, but for the listeners, are you guys a straight edge band also?
Actually, it's an interesting question. We get asked this all the time. This is the answer also. I'll let you chime in. The band is made up of people who are straight edge. Not all the members are, and it's not a requirement. And we are not a straight edge band explicitly. We are just a band with straight edge.
But your other band is a straight edge band.
That's how I would put it. I think we get lumped in with the XVX crowd a lot because of our association with New Age and a lot of the imagery we use, and I'm not
us being vegan straight edge people.
Us being vegan straight edge people.
Yeah,
the two founding members.
Yeah,
three of us. Two founding members and three of us being in Life Force, anyways, and
there's three of you in Life Force.
Our bass player also.
Okay.
And I'm not upset at it or anything because we are vegan and straight edge, but intentionally, we don't have any musical or lyrical content that is about straight edge or anything other than veganism or leftist politics.
Yeah. And we'll branch, obviously, with the first LP, we were pretty laser focused on what our messaging was going to be. Or LP, EP.
So did you hear my review of your guys' album?
Oh, from the episode that you played it on?
Yeah.
So I actually was told to go listen to it, and actually it might have been you that told me to go listen to it. But no, I haven't gone and listened to it yet. I'm actually a little bit I'm sure it was fine, but I am always hesitant to listen to reviews because
makes me nervous.
It makes me nervous as fuck, to be honest.
No, it was a good review.
It was.
At that time, I had only started listening to it, so it would be different now too.
Okay.
If I reviewed it now, I think I would give it. So one thing I said, which I thought you were going to hit on, was the content. I'm also vegan, and so I was telling Nick, I'm like,
I love the record. I think it's a great record, but like every song was just about about being vegan. And Mick was like, I think that was the point, though. I think that was like
very intentional.
Yeah, when we talked about writing originally, actually, so it's divided up into the tracks, and only one is not an explicit vegan song. And we actually ended up adding that. It was the last one to get lyrics. For a while, the whole EP was exclusively vegan material, and it was because when we were conceptualizing it, we basically were like, we are gonna make a vegan as fuck record, and even if no one wants to put it out, like we know what we want to do, and so that's what we did. And it's really funny because I was wondering if anyone was ever gonna rag on that, because they were just like, don't they have anything else to talk about?
Well, I do like the thing is the more I listen to, I think at that point I had only heard it for like a week or something like that. Is that right, Mick?
Yeah, I think so. I think you had got it and you listened to it for like a week. Yeah.
Yeah, because I ordered the Life Force record.
Oh.
And I had seen Vanguard like everywhere. Like all my friends were posting about it, and I was just like, there's so many bands out there, whatever.
Yeah.
But then I ordered the Life Force record, and it came, and it had a Vanguard stamp on it, like actual stamp, on the
Life Force LP.
No, on the box that it came in.
Oh, I was like, whoa,
okay.
what?
No. So New Age Records sent me a box, and it had the Life Force LP in it, and on the box was like a hand stamped Vanguard. It just said Vanguard, and I was like, okay, that's my cue. I got to listen to this record.
Yeah, I know that that stamp. At least part of why it was created was to do. So we kept getting, I think it was almost exclusively Euro people. Shout out the Euro people, no hate, but it was just funny because we kept getting people asking, like, are you going to get cassettes? Like, when are you going to get cassettes? And we're like, dude, we have fucking records. like records way cooler than cassettes.
Yeah.
Kept getting people asking for it. And so Mike was like, you know what? I'm going to make some cassettes. And that stamp, it's like a rubber hand stamp,
right?
I believe. And it was made to stamp the tapes, like with the whatever he.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, so I think then when that was done, he was just like, "Well, fuck it," it just like stamped everything, like everything went out.
Yeah,
with stamps on it, which I mean, like that's cool to me. I think it's kind of a cool touch.
I thought it was random, but it got me to listen to your album.
Hey, I mean,
yeah,
yeah, it works. Yeah,
I can't believe tapes are so popular over there that now we're doing another limited tape release.
yeah. Actually, that's a good point. We should actually shout that out.
Nuclear Family Records is a small label from over in the UK, and I just have to send the art over to them. But shortly, they're going to be putting up some cassettes of the record. And donating 100% of the proceeds to, they haven't figured out which, but they're not taking a cut from it. We're not taking a cut from it. All the proceeds go to some UK or EU-based animal sanctuary or rescue.
Yeah, they had
That's cool.
They were narrowing it down, and that label has put out some awesome shit too. Like I haven't heard anything that they've done that they hype up on their social media, and I'm always piqued by the art, because they're the whoever's curating the art on the imagery is like doing an awesome job, and everything that they post, I listen to, and I'm like, God damn, this label put everything they put out. Like it's like some labels like you hear, it's like like 1 in 4, 1 in 3 is stuff that you'll like, and this is like every time I listen to it, I'm like, yeah, they're killing it. So when they were like, would you guys want to do this? Like, we have a lot of demand for this. I was like, yes, that would be sick. Yeah. New Age is on board. Cool. So it's like a collaborative release, which is cool.
It's the artwork for your album that got me to listen to it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. One of the guys from Bitter Truth posted it, was saying it was coming out. And I saw and he posted the cover, and I was like, what the? And so I kept looking at it. I'm like, that's what I think that is.
Yeah, it's really funny how many people have said that. We've gotten a lot of people that have said that is something that is, like piqued my curiosity when I saw it. Like it was one of those images, I guess, it got enough people's attention that it's that same echoing statement has been said to us I like multiple times.
Wow.
Actually, a couple interviews even, which is like, we picked it because we thought it was cool. Like, you know, it like fit
we're
the
glad that
imagery.
other people think it's cool.
Yeah, it was like I was like not expecting that to be like a drawing factor, but I'm psyched that it worked that way. So
did you get an artist to make that for you, or was that already made?
oh, that's actually that's an old painting.
Oh, it's really old.
1890s,
Something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Who's it by? Do you know?
A painter named Lobus Corinth. The painting, I believe, is just called In the Slaughterhouse or just the Slaughterhouse. In the Slaughterhouse, what it's called. 1893.
Oh wow.
And we were debating on what type of art we were going to do, and at that time when we were picking it, it was just the two of us.
Yeah.
So we were kind of like, how exactly do we want to, you know, go through the process of like, I initially, the first concept that everyone else in the band shot down was it was an actual photo in a slaughterhouse, like a live action shot from a modern slaughterhouse floor.
Yeah. Like your video.
Yeah, except way more grotesque, if you can imagine that. And it struck me when I saw it. I think I saw it in a Guardian story, maybe. But it was a photo of slaughterhouse workers doing their jobs, but they're in galoshes because the entire floor has like an inch of blood on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the idea of blacking out the photo, making it all black and white, and then having only the floor be the only color, so it would be blood red, but it would be the real, you know, dynamic color palette of that floor as opposed to just like a red effect. And
they got turned down though?
For a couple reasons, and they're totally viable. One of which, it's pretty fucking gnarly. Like, I mean, if you're like flipping through a record bin at a store and you see the one we chose, people are like, "Oh, this looks cool." You know, it looks like, you know, some cooler '90s inspired shit or whatever. Or maybe it's a '90s band I didn't know about or something, which is awesome. I think if you were to flip past that, you would be like, "What the fuck?" Because it's like kind of fucking gross. Which, I mean, that's sort of the point. But also, there was a point brought up to us by a good friend. I think it was one of the members of Red Bait that said it. But the point being that those workers aren't the target of our ire with the record. You know, we're not trying to villainize the people who are just making a living in these facilities. And, you know, they're workers that deserve respect too. And so by having a record cover with like anonymized bars over their faces, but sort of painting them as these, you know, demons is a little counterproductive to our messaging as well. And so I was like,
I'm actually glad to hear you say that.
Yeah, I really can't argue with that point. So it got shot down. I still think it could be a cool shirt maybe at some point, and then maybe incorporate some sort of message about, the workers and the labor involved not being, you know, what drives consumption or something to that effect. But who knows? We might use it at some point. I did a lot of work on it, you know, all of 15 minutes, so it better get fucking used at some point.
You know how many I've worked on that's taken me like an hour that you've been like, no, we're never fucking printing that.
Oh, I have so much stuff that I've worked on that hasn't come out.
Right. It's funny because in Life Force Designs, we have this stable of designs that it's just like 15 deep at all times, because we are consistently coming up with these cool ideas. And with the youth crew aesthetic being what it is, it's so much simpler to just be like, that sounds badass, let's do it, you know? And it's so easy. Yeah. So we have all these designs lined up that it's like we already know what the cover art's going to be on the next record. We already have like 6 new shirts lined up. Like, it's like so simple. And for Vanguard, it's definitely been a more measured approach as far as like really making sure everything is on message and really trying to, not that it's like, oh, we just put out anything with Life Force, but it's just a different vibe is all.
And the dude from Youth Energy did your cover, right?
Yeah. And he fucking killed it. For the Life Force cover. It was a long process. I think at the end of it, he was pretty fucking tired of dealing with us, to be honest. we had this idea. Yeah, we had this idea that was like kind of nebulous.
And you the word blue one more time.
Yeah, it was just this kind of like we had a concept in mind that sort of paid homage to our sort of new age forebears, specifically in those designs. Like the idea being that, you know, like the youth of today fist is so iconic and everybody knows it, you know, and then Mouthpiece came out with their version like so much later, you know, the next generation, they had their version, and the fist was forward and it had the X behind it. And it was like a markered X behind this like forward raised fist.
Right.
Like that's fucking cool. You know, there are a huge inspiration for the band. And obviously we had Tim on one of the songs. It's like one of those things that was like, we wanted to like do a continuation of that lineage without ripping it, which is kind of hard because there's like only so many original ways to draw a fucking hand with a straight edge X in some way. And so I was like, you know, how can we accomplish that? And Fletcher, the founding guitarist of Life Force, had the idea of, you know, it goes with the messaging of the band to have a sort of like open, almost like a hand, reaching hand. Yeah. And, but the problem was, again, there are a million different ways to draw, you know, hands that are reaching. And so I have on my phone, I have like 25 versions that Chris drew. And I'm sure, but like at the end, I'm sure he was pulling his hair out because he was like, what the fuck do you want?
Well, it turned out good. It's so simple, but yet the message is, it looks like he's like reaching out for like a brother to help him, or
and that is really, dude, to hear you say that, I'm sure that is like the most vindicating thing for him, because I do think he fucking, and he's a super talented artist, and I think he nailed it, but I know that it was so frustrating because we really didn't know what we were asking for, and sent him all these different ideas. And a kind of a fun little Easter egg about the hand that ended up getting used is in the 80s Dune movie, in the scene where he reaches up and it pans up to his hand in the sky, we took a screenshot of that, and that was what was used as the model for the
That's
front.
awesome.
Yeah, so there's a lineage to Dune, which again ties back to Shai Hulud in a weird way. So it's like, it's kind of like a full circle thing for him, which is really cool.
That's really cool. So how did you guys find out about Philip Wollen? The speech at the beginning, your song To Suffer?
That's all this guy right here.
So I had heard some of Philip Wollen's work, or read some of his work before. And there was part of me that like vaguely remembered that speech, like subconsciously in the back of my head. And I was trying to write a sample for trying to write like an intro track, because when we figured out we were going to do the EP, we're like, well, whether or not somebody's going to put it out, let's do like 5 songs intro. So I wrote this intro thing, and we kind of went back and forth on it, like, well, should we do like a spoken word kind of thing over it? And
that was the first idea. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I was like, let me see if I could find a cool sample for it.
He just didn't want to have to hear me talk any more than he already has to.
To get you to do a spoken word part on the next fucking record, and you're like, I don't know, I want to do it on the Life Force record.
Oh gosh.
But no, so
you heard it here, folks. Well, I think it was a great choice, because when I heard that, it's seriously, I know it's so huge to say life-changing, but it was kind of life-changing. Like,
that's everything we can ask for in this band. Like, we've had a couple of people reach out to us. Really, I mean, at least somebody on a weekly basis, like, reach out to us and be like, hey, because of, you know, I heard To Suffer or whatever track, and because of that, I want to go vegan. And that's the most vindicating thing I've ever felt as a vegan, or just in my entire life in general. And really, I heard that speech again on YouTube, and I was like, this fits the essence of everything we're looking for in terms of, you know, us being a vegan band, but also putting forward the message of our compassionate intersectional leftist politics. Really, it just fit perfectly with, you know, what we were going for with the vibe of the record from the get-go. And I heard it again, and I immediately was like, okay, I have to put it in there, and I did, and I sent it to. Sorry for dropping your name there. Let's edit it out.
We can
believe
that.
it.
We can believe it. We've bleeped a lot of things.
Yeah!
No, so like I heard it and dropped it in like an early demo version of the intro, and we sent it over, and
Send it over to whom?
I sent it over to our vocalist. And,
Oh, okay. Like, did you have to get permission from the label for that and everything, or?
No,
This was pre-label.
This was pre-label.
Oh, okay.
Really, like it's a hardcore record. Like copyright infringement isn't like as big of a thing as if we were putting out a label on like fucking Pure Noise or even like Triple B or
Sure.
like that.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm like 95% sure he gave that speech publicly.
He did.
He
Yeah.
was recording at a public event, and I think you're in the clear in
Yeah,
those situations. It's not like copyrighted material.
I actually, after I heard your intro, I went back and listened to his whole speech, and it was crazy.
It's really hard hitting for sure.
For anybody who hasn't listened to the whole thing, because obviously it's much longer than that 60 clip I put in there.
That's his intro to his speech, actually.
Yeah, I implore anybody who hasn't listened to the Philip Woolen "Animals Should Be Off the Menu" speech to go listen to that immediately, and especially if you're not vegan, listen to that and ask yourself why the fuck you want.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it has that effect for sure, because I know that. So when he sent it over, like I said, we had talked about doing a different type of intro, spoken word, or maybe a sample of some sort, but not necessarily like a speech sample. You know, we were tossing around different ideas, and we actually didn't have lyrics to Suffer yet either.
Yeah.
It was we knew it was going to be the intro track. And when he sent over that, the sample embedded in the demo, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is fucking perfect. Like, it was
So did you guys have that like softer guitar part written before you had the sample?
Yeah, I had the whole
okay. Because it fit perfect then.
And then I fit it to that after. And really, I didn't.
Wow, really? You fit it to it after?
Do it.
The timing
it just really like somehow Philip Woolen's cadence with that speech just matched up with what I already had for that intro track.
What it was
the
the
Suffer intro.
It was the ancient dark vegan gods shining,
really making it work.
Yeah, everything fit in. No,
the vegan Whopper Prince.
That speech hit me as hard as you just said too, because, like I said, I didn't have anything lyrically written for the intro, and it's short. Like, once the music actually hits, it's like quite short. So for me, I was like, what am I supposed to say in this amount of time? Like, how am I supposed to utilize that? Because I'm fucking wordy, and it's hard for me to not pack as much into a song as I can. And that speech is what actually catalyzed the idea for the song, because, you know, obviously if you've listened to it, that's what he says in the song, is that you know, suffering is universal, is based, or in the speech rather, suffering is universal is kind of the theme. And that was what I was like, oh fuck, you know, that's one facet of the vegan message that this record doesn't touch on, even though we touch on, you know, five fucking different facets on one record. But we tried to keep each track its own individual piece of the argument, if you will, as opposed to, you know, just basically every song, this is an animal liberation anthem, and they all sound kind of the same lyrically. But I was really trying to avoid that, and that speech was basically the reason that track popped off the way that it did. And it's funny because when we had the sample in, and then we had the gang vocals put in, so just the Suffers on it. but my vocals weren't mastered yet. I sent it to Javier. He is a friend of mine who lives in Orange County, and he actually did the a portion of the layout. And I sent it over to him, and he was like, dude, if you guys were in California and you didn't ask me to be in this band after hearing this, I would be like genuinely upset, because this is the type of thing like I would want to like tie myself to. And I was like, dang, that's a huge compliment. Thank you. So
real.
So that's definitely what like we were like, okay, I think we got it. I think we nailed it on the opening track. So
Yeah. Well, see, like when I did the review, if you end up listening to the review, it is a good review. The only retouching on this, the only thing that I said was I wish every track, wasn't exclusively a vegan track.
Word, yeah. Well, what can we say? Yeah, yeah. One of them's not. There's one track on the record that's not.
Well, I mean, you guys have the right to do whatever you want. It's just me as a listener, I'm saying.
Yeah, don't hold your breath for the next release to not also have like mostly vegan tracks either.
to not have them, or
I said don't hold your breath for that to change much, because it's probably going to stay a pretty consistent thematic line through the rest of our releases, I would assume.
I don't know. I feel like we do want to branch out in terms of intersectional messaging and intersectional political messaging with new material. But I mean, at our core, we're a vegan band and we're a leftist band, and those are our two guiding principles as a collective.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And like I said, the more I listen to it, I've had time to listen to it now more, because I bought the record and it's in my rotation. So I probably listen to it probably daily, for real.
Bro, that's awesome.
Wow, thank you.
That's really next level. Not to be a fucking corny, like, I don't know. Knowing someone who can appreciate it is putting it on regularly, or knowing that people are messaging the account and being like, yo, like, I'm going vegan because of hearing this or whatever. Like, being on a label and having like pretty records, like that's cool. Like pretty vinyl is cool, having cool merch designs that we get to print, and we see people wearing them, like that's cool. And it's like rewarding in its own way, of course. But like those things, like knowing that it's being like really absorbed, that's like, I like legit can't describe like that feeling, because like that's the most thing to me. Like if everything
I've
else,
literally never felt anything like
yeah,
that.
it's ridiculously rewarding, and it's, I don't think it would be as rewarding if it wasn't subject matter that was so like near and dear to us. So that's huge, and it really does mean a lot. So I appreciate it.
Did you think it would take off as well as it did?
I want to be modest and say like, oh, we were surprised, but I would be totally honest with you. Well,
your other band, in my opinion, I think it kind of surpassed it.
You think so? I think that,
I do.
I think with them being in different enough realms, we're trying not to make it competitive between the two, because we have shared members and shared ethos and everything.
Yeah.
I will say though,
but let's get honest, it surpassed it.
I would say when we wrote it and it was done, and we were sending it off to get mastered, we like sort of looked at each other, and this was before it had been picked up by New Age, because it was totally recorded and mastered and had all the art done before we shopped it to labels. And we didn't want to make like the sort of like spoiled assumption of like, oh, we're already on one New Age band, we're in one New Age band, so we'll get to put our record out no matter what, like no problem. We didn't want to assume that, because as everybody knows, like New Age is a storied label with like a really awesome catalog, and so there's a lot of submissions and decision making that go on that's over our heads. So we didn't want to be the shitty little new kids on the block, because Life Force being the youngest band on the label, as far as like in terms of the longevity of being on the label itself, we didn't just want to make that assumption of like, yeah, we'll just put it out on New Age, no problem. So we were prepared to have like a finished product to be able to shop out, and we just gave New Age like basically first right of refusal on it. Like we didn't want to surprise you and have this come out on some other label, but we do have another project, and it's different, but it's kind of still in your wheelhouse. And I sent it to Mike. I was actually driving home from Denver, and I'm on the road, and the guitarist sent me over the finished versions, or at least the most finished versions. And I was like, okay, moment of truth, I'm gonna send it off. And I sent it to Mike, who runs New Age, and in 14 minutes we had a record deal. And it was like one listen, and he was like, let's put this out like in a week. Like I want this out now. I want it pressed. I want everything done immediately. And so we were like, damn, with that reaction and with the way we felt about it, like you always like your own baby, you know what I mean? So it's like, we were really confident in it. We felt good about it, but it's like hearing that from somebody who has like the history that he has, and like he has, in my opinion, really good taste. And so hearing that, we were like, damn, I think this record might fucking kind of explode. And it has, thankfully. I mean, I'm not saying it's like, on the Billboard top 50 or something, but it's definitely like, it's been amazing to watch people appreciate it. So it's like hugely gratifying.
Insane feeling. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think it's exploded, especially in the hardcore scene.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and it's interesting too, because it's bridging, for one reason or another. Obviously there's a lot of tribalism in the scene. So you get these bands that tend to stick into like their little camps, and that's fine. But it's interesting how many different types of people have been connecting with it too. So you've got, like the militant straight edge crowd, and you've got, kind of the more like crusty, maybe fastcore folks who are still into it. And you've got, like old school folks who are into it, and then younger kids who are into it. I'm like, dang, that's cool. It's like, it's not being pigeonholed, which I was frankly kind of worried about, just because of the influences. It tends to appeal to typically an older crowd.
I've seen 50-year-old old heads talk about our band, and I've also seen like Zoomers post about our band on TikTok 10 times, and that shit's fucking crazy.
That was
I don't remember the last time, like,
I don't know if I know what language you're speaking right now.
Like old heads are like sick, and
what's an old head is like an old hardcore guy.
Yeah. I think you and I probably qualify as old heads. I don't think this guy is. You're pretty close.
I'm 26. I'm getting there.
That's pretty young.
Yeah, right?
By some standards, I'm an old guy now.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually, that's a good point.
By what standards?
By some people.
By some people's standards.
By middle schoolers?
by like the 18, 19-year-old kid who it's like their first show, like, sure. I'm the old guy now.
I mean, all it takes is like a lot of tattoos and a beard, and it's like, yeah, that guy's like an older dude. He's like an older, cool dude or whatever. I actually remember we're getting off the rails, but I rolled up to the very first show that I played that was outside of my like immediate community, like my immediate circle was like in the larger city where I lived, and it got booked by this guy who I looked at as like old dude, like OG guy, like. He was bald and he had a big beard, and he, had like a full sleeve, and like I was like, that dude's like an old dude. Like he's like an old dude. He's like an old dude. And it's so funny because we were talking at the show, and he was like, y'all are a straight edge band, right? And we were like, yeah. And he was like, that's fucking cool, man. I've been straight edge for 10 years. And we were all like, whoa, like 10 years. Like we were just like, couldn't believe it. We thought that was so cool because we were like 16. And we were like, damn, that dude's been straight edge forever. And it's so funny because I look back now, and that dude at that show was like 27.
Oh, no.
I'm a fucking fossil now. Like, it makes me feel terrible.
You early, mid-30s?
Yeah, still early 30s. I'll still claim that, but yeah, almost.
So Mick and I are grandpa hardcore.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Old heads, right?
Yes.
Old heads,
He said 50. I'm like 4 years away from 50.
Yeah.
I just turned 40 yesterday.
Oh no shit! Happy birthday. That's cool.
Yeah, thanks,
Happy
man.
birthday, man.
Yeah, it's funny because for me, I always saw 30 as like, if you were a 30 plus punk, like you're a lifer at that point. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you make it to that point, like you're pretty much like that's who you're gonna be. Which I always saw those dudes. That same guy, his name was Greg. Shout out Greg. That same dude was still. And I ended up being in a band with him later. But he was still in the scene when he turned 30, and he was like, yeah, 30 plus punks, man, I made it. And I always remember being like, damn, that's fucking awesome. Like, that's like being into good shit and new shit, even when you're still hitting like new decades of life is fucking cool to me, because I feel like a lot of people, they get stuck at what they listen to at like 24 and they never evolve past that shit.
Well, that's the reason why we wanted to do Coffee and Hardcore, because we wanted, like, I don't know, it didn't sound like you listened to the last episode, or I don't know if you've heard the show before, but we only review newer albums.
Yeah.
We don't.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We don't do old stuff because we're trying to push newer albums and newer bands out there.
Yeah, it's actually funny that you say that exact thing, because Javier that I mentioned that did some of the layout on the record, he does a podcast for Rev. That's their. Oh
yeah, we've heard it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking cool.
It is good.
But it's like there's a million of those, because everyone in hardcore has this like, the weight of the history of the genre is like crushing the new shit almost, because it's people become so.
Gotcha.
Like,
yeah.
So like obsessive almost over. Like, oh yeah, did you hear about, the SSD show that happened in, 80, 84, 85 or whatever? And you're like, dude, how long ago? Like, there's a cool show happening 2 blocks away. What the it's like, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, that's definitely like a weird symptom of this scene, is it's like crushed by its weight, its own weight of nostalgia, which is like, it's a good and a bad thing, I guess. But I think it's fucking cool that you guys are doing exclusively new shit. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's very.
We really only do new.
Yeah.
We try to do only a year or two old albums that are coming out.
Yeah.
Like
super
newer for this year.
Yeah, I think that's awesome, because, and I mean, speaking from somebody who's always, like, only up until recently, until Life Force, I always had this like feeling of like, dude, it's like breaking through like to that sort of like penetrating what people are going to be talking about and getting like sort of that circulation through, whether it's like, it used to be blog spots, but again, I'm fucking old now. But like, like, oh, how do we break into the zines? How do we break into the blog spots? How do we break into the podcasts now? It's the same thing.
That's how the B9, dude.
Right. Yeah, straight up. Yeah. Message boards. Like, how do we get the people to talk about us on the message boards or whatever? And it was always so hard, because it's like, people only want to talk about either what's hyped or what's old. And it sucks if you're not one of those things. You're like, God, dude, like, I feel like what we're doing is cool, but no one really gives a shit. And it's like, it's so cool that you guys are like taking, like, yeah, we're only doing stuff that's a year or less old. That's badass.
Well, see, that's kind of the thing with in the 90s though too, or even early 2000s, like people don't understand what's going on at the time, right? So when nostalgia hits, so when 2000, like in 2000, when people are going to shows, everyone talked about the older bands, and now people, 20 years later are talking about the bands in 2000. It's weird. It's like people only, they don't realize that they're in the good times, kind of.
Yes. Yeah. Right. It's like, you don't realize you're in the good old days until you're out of them. And then you look
right.
And you're like, fuck, I missed
it. I think it's important to be in the now.
Yeah, I agree with you completely.
So, well, okay. So this is weird, because when I see your guys' imagery and stuff, to me, I would consider you almost like a militant vegan hardcore band by your social media. But then, like, when I talk to you guys, you're so chill, so chill and awesome, and personable.
Yeah, like, I'm so sorry that we didn't come on like with our rifles and like balaclavas on.
Yeah. So I'm gonna bust Mick out, but
bust me out, because I was a little nervous.
He's like, so what are you gonna do if these? Go ahead. Tell me.
I was just a little nervous, because I was like, because seriously, like, a bunch of my friends are into you, and that got me into listening to you, and I dig the record, dig everything, and then I get on Instagram and I'm like, dude, these guys got guns. I'm from West Virginia, okay?
Yeah.
We love guns, all right?
Sure, yeah.
I have guns.
Yeah.
Okay. But like I've never seen like vegan straight edge hardcore and guns before. Like those are two that I've never seen together. And I was like, okay, like, are we killing people? What are we doing? I was just a little nervous.
He goes, what happens if it gets off the rails? I'm like, we'll deal with it.
Like, we'll cut the feed. We'll handle it.
We'll deal with it.
Yeah, it's funny because like that is actually something that, again, we've had multiple people be like, you guys are really nice. Like, you're a lot better than we expected.
But the thing is, like, we're leftists and we're pretty open about that, and we're not, like, as far as guns go, we're not some fucking like 2A shall not be infringed chuds. Like, you know, we're pro the armament of the proletariat and the working class. And we think the most efficient way for our friends from marginalized communities, socioeconomically disadvantaged communities, our queer friends, our trans friends, to be protected and to protect themselves is to arm themselves and learn how to use those tools to arm themselves safely. And as
arm themselves by guns, you're saying?
Yeah. Just
there's other tools too, though.
Yeah, you're right. Which is like
and
also encouraged.
At the end of the day, like, you should only be using a firearm to defend yourself if it's your life or somebody else's.
Yeah, we're not advocating for militia building, and we're not.
No, not at all.
And we're also definitely not in the mindset of, you know, militant for militancy's sake is not the goal. Let's put it that way. So, if you boil it down, the easiest way to get that message across for us was it's sort of in terms, and if you're speaking, you know, going back to your West Virginia comment, like we're in Texas, obviously. And if you're talking about guns specifically and that portion, you know, we're not like, the point of the band is not to flex guns, and it's not to promote the ownership of guns for the ownership of guns' sake. Is that firearms are just one of many tools that need to be in the toolbox of working people and marginalized people. And there are a couple reasons for that. You know, one is that you can't fight the violent and frankly homicidal and openly hyper-violent oppression and suppression that are occurring against working and marginalized communities. You have to fight fire with fire. And I'm not saying you have to go out in the streets and start, you know, skirmishes and whatnot, but there should be no reason that working people should not be able to have the arms at hand that are putting them on an equal playing field with the people who are actively oppressing them. And that boils down to the best way to boil that down to a way that people are going to identify it with it, especially people who are more in the liberal camp, who are sort of nervous about guns, or who have been taught by the political establishment in the liberal world of you know, guns are unnecessary, or they're dangerous, or they're you know, inherently a hazard in any home that they're in, and those sort of arguments, which we hear, of course, is that, you know, whether or not you agree and whether or not you subscribe to those ideas, I can tell you who doesn't subscribe to those ideas, and it's fascists. And those people do have guns, and they are training actively. And we go to the range and train with one another and with other comrades in the areas that we all live in, and we can tell you we are in very close proximity to seeing those people actively training on a very regular basis. And the difference is that culture has a head start by generations on anyone who would oppose them, us included. And it's unfortunate that that's the case, but that culture is well armed. A lot of them are very well trained. That being said, a lot of them are also not well armed and not well trained, and they're fucking idiots too. You know, that they're fucking playing soldier boy. Like, that camp exists too, for sure. But there are you know, you'll see for every goofy QAnon, I'm going to storm the Capitol and climb up the steps with my friends and film myself doing it and implicate myself in a felony while open carrying at the Capitol building. And, like for all those fucking goofballs, there are people who are genuine and serious threats who are planning on bombing immigrant apartment blocks and who are planning, anti-immigrant storming where they're going to come in and they're going to plan on executing everyone in a given a black church, or there are a lot of those people who as uncomfortable as that might be and outside of the typical safe realm of liberal discussion, it doesn't matter because they're there. So whether or not you choose to acknowledge them is your own business, but you have to acknowledge the fact at some point that those folks are there and they don't care if you're armed or not, and they don't care if you agree with their opinions or not. They are out there and they are training. And so the idea is, a fascist trained today. Did you? And that's kind of the point.
So sad, though.
It is.
It is sad.
Yeah,
It's a very sad reality. And don't get me wrong, I dream of a world where the workers have the power and subjugated communities are no longer subjugated. And there's no need for the mentality of a fascist train today. So why didn't you? But looking at the material conditions of our world, that's not where we are.
Yeah. You have to look through the lens of what are the material conditions in which you're living, as opposed to where do you wish you were or where did you used to be. It's got to be just like you touched on earlier. You have to live in the present, and that's our present situation. Unfortunately, is that fascism has become mainstreamed and it's been encouraged openly by the highest offices of power for a long time. Not just the last 4 years.
Yeah,
because it's been masked off for the last 4 years, which it has been for sure. But, there has been a lot of things that have enabled the rise of underground and above ground fascist movements for generations at this point.
Since the foundations of this country,
Yeah.
I mean, since the fucking British Empire.
Yeah, but it's more, like he said, it's more mainstream. It's more out in the open now. And I think Mick
Of course.
kind of touched on it a little bit on the last episode about Americanized Christianity. He had a whole talk about that.
Yeah. We actually had this discussion at dinner last night. That's actually really funny. So we have members in the band that were raised Jewish in the faith. We have members that were raised pagan, and we have members that were raised Catholic. So we have this,
That's good. That's good that you guys have that mixing pot.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it definitely adds a lot of
It's healthy.
We all had different experiences growing up. Like obviously going to different services and different faiths or different rituals, or they all have different effects on you, and you learn about different things, and you have different experiences, which is valuable. But we were literally talking about that last night. The differences in even not necessarily in faith or in dogma, but in the cultural value of the way that the church functions here. And we were specifically honing in on Catholicism, and we were talking about how in a lot of other parts of the world where Catholicism is really rampant, it tends to be the central pillar of whatever given smaller communities that it's in, and the culture of a given area tends to focus on the church.
But it also lends itself to being a community building force instead of a force that
is openly oppressive.
Oppressive and builds divides the way it does in the West.
Yes, yeah, and so that's what we were talking about, was that Western Christianity, and even more specifically, we were drilling down into our conversation was Western Catholicism. It functions very differently, and it's more of an accessory to people's lives as opposed to a community tool, which is, again, it's in itself is kind of sad, but I'm of the personal opinion that I know that you guys may not agree. I don't know what your current beliefs are, but I know what some of your pasts are. And I know that for me personally, I'm of the opinion that I think humanity has gotten to the point where we've moved past the need for such heavily organized religion. And I think...
we both agree heavily.
Yes.
Okay. I think...
We grew up in the 90s when religion was used as a tool to kind of break you down. Yeah. And it was a very bad thing. It was a very spiritual stunting thing, and spiritual abuse. We talked about that too.
Yeah. I think it's a great term for it. Actually, I've never heard that before, but I think that's really solid.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks coming out with PTSD and everything else from spiritual abuse from the last, 90s and the 2000s. So now we're in 2021, and like you said, fascism is mainstream, and unfortunately, Western Christianity has become its spiritual root.
Yeah.
And so now we're in a place to where, like, what's next? Like, what's next? Like, it's so insane. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Book of Eli.
Yeah,
Great movie.
And that whole thing is like, that one guy wants to get his hands on the Bible because he can twist it and make it what he wants it to say to control everybody.
Yeah, control.
That's the entire Western side of the church.
That's what's going on right now.
It's what's happening.
Yeah,
I don't remember. It's insane.
I don't remember who it was. I might be attributing it to. I won't attribute it to an author because I don't remember which one it was. It was one of the big American authors. But he said when fascism arrives on the shores of the United States, it won't arrive in a foreign flag. It will be wrapped in an American flag and carrying a Bible. And it's like so fucking creepy, spot on that it's like, we're watching it happen in mainstream, on literal news networks where they're talking about these groups that, folks in the hardcore community or the leftist community, or even just community organizers that work specifically with, community activism, basically, I guess I should say. They've been aware of these groups, and there are folks like the Southern Poverty Law Center and the Anti-Defamation League that have been putting out information about these groups for years. And it's like I got a pamphlet in DC on tour, like literally 10 years ago now. That included a bunch of the symbols that were being utilized by hate groups. It's fucking mind-boggling that I can turn on fucking CNN now or whatever, and those groups are like marching openly in the streets with like flags and shields with those symbols on them, to where just 10 years ago, it was still very underground, and they had to keep their shit under wraps because they would get clamped down on, and they've gotten so emboldened. And that's, again, we take it back, full circle to what we were just talking about with our messaging, is that like they are there, and they not only are they there, but they've grown, and they've got these new sophisticated tools of recruitment. And unfortunately, there's a lot of ripe recruits that they know how to manipulate and how to trick into their belief systems. And for the most part, those people are working people, and it's really unfortunate. And so the only way to counteract that and protect our communities, whether it's whatever marginalized communities that you're a part of, the only way to do that is the sort of the mantra of the armed leftist community is we protect us. The wheels are turning now. And it's like,
no. Honestly, it does make me think, because I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I live in Chicago. I was telling Mick, was I telling you the story? I don't know. But just the other day, we had gunshots, and our neighbor over across the street opened up the door to see what was going on, and they shot at him.
Holy shit!
And so he's like, "No, I'm good. I don't gotta see what this is." So it's like it's weird to think about, because I'm not a gun person. I mean, I grew up in the UP, shooting shotguns and shooting guns at targets and stuff like that. But I've never been a hunter, never hunted animals, never shot at animals. So guns to me were just kind of like, I use it as like a toy, kind of,
Sure.
As a pastime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. And so it is a lot of thinking, because when you guys are talking, I'm like, I don't know how what you're saying is making me feel. I mean, I know that's not important to what you're saying.
No, it is. And that's the point, though, is that that is exactly the goal, is that you just told us, I've been listening to your record like every day for a week. And then you're like, damn, what these people are saying is like really making me think. Like that's the goal. Like, so that's perfect. Like, that's what we want to hear, because it's like inspiring these potentially new ideas. And I know that a lot of people, whether there are, romantic partners or immediate friend groups, we've seen this huge reaction in our immediate social group it's been spurred by this record, and that's been it's gotten people talking, it's gotten people involved, and we now have a pretty considerably large group of folks who are regularly talking about these things, who are regularly arming themselves, arming their communities, talking to their neighbors, getting active in their immediate neighborhoods and communities. And like, that's, again, kind of what we talk about the vegan thing. That's the other pillar of our message. It's like, that's what we want, like we've got members that were community activists and have lived in areas that needed it desperately and were involved with CPUSA and all the activism that they were doing in the Midwest. And that's a huge part of what we do for a reason. And seeing that sort of the record or our message can be a catalyst for that, like that's the end goal. Like that's fucking awesome. So it's good that you're thinking. I don't think you should feel bad about it.
No, please don't feel bad about it.
No, I just think it's a lot of it's over my head right now, and I don't know how to respond to it, so I'm not going to. If that makes sense.
And if you want to keep the conversation going off podcast, like please continue, like talking to us. I mean, we just think you guys are cool outside of the podcast too. So
I will say this from hearing your conversation, not that my opinion means anything, but I do feel a little bit better that you guys are talking protection and not, because honestly, when you talk, because like I said, where I'm from, when I start seeing pictures of guns and things, immediately I'm going, somebody's talking about militia.
Yeah, this is some extremism shit.
Yes, because
this is the polar opposite of that. Our goal is to encourage the working class and to encourage people from subjugated minority communities to defend themselves against the fash if necessary. And really just know how to properly defend, whether that's with firearms, if necessary, or in any other way, their communities.
Right.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you bring that up, not to consistently be the motherfucker that's always going off the rails. So sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
It's a tendency for me, but training. There's a group of folks that I train with in another state. Anytime I'm there, whether it's for work or whatever, and I link up with them about once a month, and we go train sort of in the boonies, and it's on BLM land. So it's on a lot of BLM land in a lot of different states. You can actually go and you can do target practice, and as long as you clean up whatever you leave, you're in the clear. But that it's open to anybody. And there have been occasions where, and this is not exaggeration by any means. So without giving away who these friends are or where we were, we, on the way to the places where we were going to train, we stopped in at an ammo depot, like a gun shop that has a lot of ammo. And obviously we attempt to fit in as much as possible. Like, you got to work within the systems that you're in. You can't walk in flying a fucking Antifa flag, because they're going to pop you full of holes when you walk through the door, because they're all convinced that, that anti-fascism is this specter and this evil, force that's taking over towns, and it's going to be down their fucking Dairy Queens or whatever the fuck they're worried about. So like, we definitely have to, like, be as inconspicuous as possible. But there is a certain point, like if you have people walking in with facial tattoos, and you have people walking in that are, not good old boys, there are going to be some eyebrows raised. And at a certain point, we were walking out of this ammo store, and one of my friends turned to me and was like, "Do you think that guy just called his friends and was like, I think there were just a bunch of, Antifa in my store, man, type thing." Like, and we were like, "Yeah, I don't know, maybe," and we were laughing about it. And we got in the car, and we drove out to the federal land where we set up our training exercises. And while we're parked and we're setting up, a pickup truck pulls up that's flying on a flagpole. In the bed of the pickup truck is flying a 3%er flag. And I don't know if you're familiar with that group, but
I'm not.
It's a hyper-conservative right-wing militia. It's a nationwide organization, and they get their name from, they call themselves 3%ers, and the name comes from it's actually a completely false wives' tale, but it's not an accurate historical statement. But the concept is that only 3% of the colonists in the American colonies rose up to fight British imperialism, and that's, or not even British imperialism, to fight British rule and win freedom and liberty from the British. It was only 3% of colonists, and that's not even factually true.
Right.
and B, it's hilarious that
They're
they
not
see themselves.
smart enough to fucking
Yeah, it's like cracking a history book, like it's like asking them to tie their shoes and not use the fucking Velcro shoes from Walmart. So these
Hey, don't diss Velcro shoes, bro.
yeah, it's funny though because these dudes rolled up. We're in miles deep in no middle of nowhere. Like there would be no reason for these people to roll up on us the way that they did, and they pulled the truck sideways behind an exit point, and they got out, and they're very well armed, and they're obviously, they know what they're doing, and they were like, "Hey, how's it going?" And we're like, "Oh fuck," you know what I mean? Like this is not good. And they're like, "Yeah, we were shooting here earlier, and one of our guys dropped his phone, so we were just gonna see, can we check out around where your cars are to see if we can see it on the ground maybe?" And we were all just sort of like, "Oh fuck, this is not safe. Like this is probably a ruse." Shit, for all I know, they could have just been looking for a fucking phone. Like I don't know, but the reality of the situation was like it was like, oh, these people are out here, and like this is not like we're not chasing windmills. This is a real threat to people's safety, and these are the people that are going to the Unite the Right rallies and who are going to counter protest against Black Lives Matter and running over people with their trucks. And like, I mean, these are those people, and they are out there, and it is a militia, and they are.
So what ended up happening with that?
We basically told them, you know what, we're just gonna we're done here. We're gonna pack up. We're gonna try and clear out. And they
gotcha.
were you can come check it out then. And they were basically like, oh, okay, well, we'll keep looking type thing. And we relocated to another spot because we were like, that was fucking sketchy.
Just to be safe, yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because when we left that day, we were back on the, these are all like, they're not even really roads. They're like these like, tire rut trails almost that you drive on. And we were back on like the trail going back to a road, and we drove by that same truck later that day. And they were firing a 50 cal out of the bed of the truck. So if that gives you an idea of like, I mean, it's like just ridiculous. Like we're just like, geez,
really could have been been sniped from fucking 3 miles away.
It's just like you're dealing with a different caliber of person and they deal with a different, or they're making their decisions based on an entirely different set of information, unfortunately, because their belief systems aren't based in reality.
Well, and that's a crazy thing that I realize is we have the internet and we have everything at our fingertips, but you realize that there's different school of thought, and those school of thought are so focused on their school of thought that it seems like there's no breathing room for anything. And we have so much information at our fingertips these days, but yet it seems like people are still so divided.
Oh yeah. Well, and if anything, it makes it easier to connect. Whereas, Dylan Roof was a white supremacist who walked into a church with a gun, and he killed a bunch of people that were praying in a church. And he was radicalized on the internet, and he wouldn't have been able to have access to the ideas that he had access to that eventually pushed him to do that and think that that was a good thing.
Sure.
If he hadn't have been able to connect with other extremists on the internet. And unfortunately, the internet's a beautiful tool, and it's allowed us to connect. Like we're fucking talking right now from how far away. Like it's amazing, and it works both ways. But there is definitely some unfortunate side effects that it allows the wrong type of people to also do the same thing. And so, again, that comes right back to what Under No Pretext is about, and what the writing that those lyrics are stolen from are about too. Is that there is a reason that working people and that marginalized people need to be prepared, and they need to be informed and be able to be safe. And that's a big part of it too. You can't just buy a gun and put it in a closet because it's not going to do you any good. Like you might as well buy a fucking baseball bat. If you're not training with it and you're not familiar with it and you're not safe, and you make sure that the people who also live in your house aren't familiar and trained and safe, and your neighbors aren't aware that, hey, if you don't feel safe and you don't feel comfortable, you can always come to me. Here's why. I'm always here. Knock on my door. Like building those communities, like that has to be paramount.
Guys, we are going to have to wrap this up though. We've gone over our time, but
Sorry, I know we didn't go through like half your questions, but
no. It's cool. I just got two things, and I want you to answer these pretty quickly.
Good fire, yeah.
What are Vanguard's future plans? I need to know this as a fan.
We're hoping to do some kind of split this year, possibly.
You say split?
Yeah, possibly looking to do another split or maybe even a 3-way split we can't talk too much about yet.
Yeah.
Wait, you said another.
Well,
another release.
Do a split. Kind of do another release.
Okay.
Either like a 2-way split or a 3-way split, but we can't let on too much about it yet. We have some wheels in motion,
But there is music coming.
There is music coming, or we would like to do maybe another 7-inch.
Nice.
Other than that, we just signed a partnership with Mad Booking for Europe for when the pandemic is over. I'm fully vaccinated.
Actually, everyone in the band is in the process of being vaccinated.
Halfway vaccinated. Yeah. So we just signed that deal with Mad for Europe for when the pandemic is over. So
there's potentially
2022 some big news coming.
There's potentially some tied to the Euro news. There's potentially some pretty fucking mind-blowing shit for us as fans as well. Let's put it that way. That we might be able to be involved in, which we're sort of like sitting here like fingers crossed that we can get it to work out. So as soon as we have, concrete evidence that's
sure
case, we'll definitely be announcing it. But yeah, definitely another release, if not
another release or a couple.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So you guys have music written though, eh?
We don't have a ton of back material, but we do have a backlog.
I got like almost a whole 7-inch written.
Oh yeah, that's what I want to hear.
Nothing like
I've got at least 14 minutes worth of music.
I write pretty much everything for the band, and I have like a whole home studio set up. So I mean, aside from like doing homework and shit like that, I sit around and write new Vanguard material. So I mean, I have like a 7-inch ready to be off to the pressing plant once we get it cleaned up and everything.
There are also, I will plug the label, there are some cool things that are coming soon from the label as well that because it's not our place to say so, I won't let on too much more than that, but there's some cool stuff coming around the bend, which because of the order in which releases happen, and as they work down the list of who's got what coming out next, that's going to be a deciding factor for us too on what's going to be possible for exactly.
Sure. That makes sense.
But we do have 3 new colors of the EP of Rage of Deliverance. We just decided on them, and they're fucking wacky, but they're awesome. So if you're like a vinyl, I think at this point the only people who will be buying new colors are probably people who like to collect variants, because I think any new people who are getting introduced to the band at this point probably would have already been introduced to that record. I would hope. But I'm just saying, these are weird colors for people who are like, I want that weird one. That's yeah. So we'll I don't know.
Are they still selling the blood splatter one?
Yeah, those are. I know they're available from Cortex.
Yeah,
but in the States here,
I know there are some available in Europe. New Age might have a few.
I don't. It's so hard.
And Rev might.
So do you have a color? All the colors?
Oh yeah. We're all fucking dorks about it.
Yes.
Like we sat down and we have the ones even that it was like, they're like sold out. That's one thing that's really cool that New Age does, is that they apportion so that the band isn't just like screwed when you start playing shows. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, well, we only have, the boring color or whatever. And first of all, New Age doesn't ever do boring colors. It's badass. Like, they're like, you can do whatever you want. Fucking go crazy.
Cool. Yeah.
And, like, that's why all of our colors and all the Life Force colors were really fucking cool. Like, because they gave us free reign.
Yeah, I like that. I got the neon yellow. I think of the Life Force, right? You got that? Yeah.
And like the way
We literally have like 3-day long arguments in our group chats about what it's gonna be. Like Michael hit us back up like, "Hey motherfuckers, do you guys have
please
colors
give
yet?"
me the
We're still arguing about it.
Yeah, but that's one thing that's cool that they do is that they're like, yeah, it's sold out from us, but the bands have their share that we can then take to shows and that we get to sell. So even if something is sold out or it's like not available anymore because it's sold out online, like please don't go to Discogs and these fucking dickheads that are putting our records up for like 2 or 3 times the price. Like, don't be that guy. If you're listening and you do that, please stop doing that
Face
shit.
the wall.
It sucks. like don't fucking.
I go to Discogs for records that, like, if you see here, I got, I don't know, The Age of Coral up there.
No, buy it.
You can't get it.
Fine.
Yeah.
I think if
That's what I use Discogs for.
if you're a grifter that you're getting wholesale prices as a distro and then you're discogging them for 2 or 3 times MSRP.
Oh yeah.
Asshole.
If you're doing that with my band's records, you miss the point.
Yeah, straight up.
Don't listen to my
Yeah,
band.
like, please stop capitalizing off of us, please. Like, that sucks. Like, we don't.
We had someone do that with our 1-inch record. They wanted to buy 50 of them, and we only put out 100. And we were like, no,
like
you can't buy half of them.
Yeah, it's not, like,
That's not the point.
the point is
Whenever I
ruined.
would
at
like
that
to buy one.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we if you have your eyes on one of the variants that you didn't get the chance to get or you missed out on, we will have them. So when shows start happening again, we have at least one of everything still. I think.
Yeah.
At least one.
And multiples of most.
So I might be hitting you guys up.
Yeah, I'm saying like we want people to be able to like have fun with it and not just be like, oh well, cool. I don't live in Germany, so I don't get the Cortex version. Like what?
Right.
You know, like so we have all that stuff, and we want people to be able to like when they come to our merch booth, be like, damn, this is cool. I get to pick what I want. You know.
So the most important question of the whole night, and I know I probably won't be able to get one, but how do I get a Life Force hat?
Oh,
The Carhartt hat. I wanted one so bad.
yeah, we need to do those again. So we actually did those before. Life Force did those before we were on New Age as like, not a
So rad.
Yeah, it was just like one of those things that
weren't they like pre-order only?
Yeah.
Like the order. This was before I joined Life Force, but from what I understand, it was like the orders were placed.
Yeah.
After people bought them.
That makes sense because they're probably expensive.
Yeah, they were. They're all hand embroidered. So it wasn't just like from some far away place where they showed up in a box. Like it was I talked to the person who made them and everything, and it was one of those things. It was like we thought it would be cool because
super cool,
and so we just get them for the band. And then when we told our friends about them, they were like, "Damn, what the fuck? How much are they?" And so we ended up. I think there's only like 50 of them.
I can't even get one.
Yeah.
I can't even
he doesn't even have one, so it tells you.
So I'm not getting one.
Well, everyone, we actually have been asked that too a bunch of times. Is people are like, "You gonna do that again?" Because that's pretty cool. So Vanguard's next merch run is gonna be, I think, mostly Carhartt.
Are you doing hats?
What I'm trying to do hats as a part of it.
Yes, I would love to have a Vanguard Carhartt hat.
Yeah, I think that's in the cards. We've also talked about doing it's a corny name, but it's the best thing that people know them as. But like operator caps, like caps that'll have like a hook and loop square on the front that you can like put your own patch on. You can have like a Velcro patch.
Oh yeah.
Like a morale patch on the hat. Yeah, we've talked about doing those too because we think that would be really fucking cool. And there are a couple of like really awesome I guess like crafts people you would call them, like folks who are making really fucking cool like left leaning and openly leftist like morale patches. And if we could have like these caps with these
shouts out off color decals on Etsy.com.
Look up
off color decals on Etsy.com.
Yeah, look up Dorner Tactical too.
Yeah.
Those two.
Can you put a link to that, Mick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the first one?
Off color decals.
Okay.
Yeah, we put links to all this stuff
And
so
the
people
second
can.
the second one was Dorner, Dorner, Tactical.
Yeah, and the homie at the People's Armory as well. All these folks make like really cool hook and loop morale patches, or just like, you know, they're not even necessarily morale patches. They're just cool little patches that are Velcro. And we think it would be cool to be able to have like these hats that would maybe have the band name here on the side or something, and then you could put whatever you want on the front of it. Something like that might just be cool, like unique merch, because it's like, you know, right now there are only so many fucking t-shirts that everyone can buy. There are only so many pair of fucking basketball shorts. Like everybody has the same shit. So we're down to like start changing it up a little bit and making some cooler, more interesting merch items. So that's definitely coming around the bend.
Vanguard 511 Glad one.
Yeah.
Well, guys, hey, we're gonna play a song to play you guys out. What song do you want us to play from Vanguard?
Oh, it has to be from us? You pick.
Do Ascendant, because it's my favorite song on the record, and it's the one with like the least plays because it's the last song.
I think that's Nick's favorite, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, I dig that song quite a bit.
You know what's funny is that was the one that we obsessed over and really put so much time into, and like really like.
And then we released Defeatus or Detach.
Yeah, we released Detach and To Suffer, and those are the ones that, like, if you go look at the plays, like those are the ones everyone goes to and plays on their phones and shit. And it's like, damn, but Ascendant is like the end, like that's the point, and like that's the one that doesn't get all the plays. So yeah, you should play that one.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank
This
you
is
guys
really
for
cool.
having us.
Oh, wait.
Real.
I guess we don't get. Do we get to know what coffee you're drinking? Did you already do that part?
The review?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
He's drinking unicorn blood
yeah. I'm
from
drinking
Dark
Unicorn
Matter.
Ah, okay.
And what am I doing? Let me see. I'm not drinking coffee right now because I wouldn't be able to go to bed.
He's a wuss. He can't drink coffee late at night.
But I stop at 5.
Fair enough. Okay.
I'm drinking steaming bean coffee from Colorado.
Steaming bean. Okay. Cool.
Our record label guy sent it to me, and he's like, "You gotta try this." So,
Nice.
is it okay?
Okay. Cool.
Send us the links. We'll have to check them out.
Yeah.
Oh, the links will be up there for sure.
Oh,
Nice. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
So,
Thank you.
yeah.
no problem.
See ya.
See you
Have a good
later.
night.
You too.
Strength and refusal, my ascendance. Weight in consumption, your indifference. Strength to hate your world, my discontent. So until they're free, raise up deliverance. Refusal to accept that which blocks the way, and I will not espouse that which I truly hate. Kill your traditions and suffocate the willful ignorance embedded in me. Enrage, slave to your greed and access. What you consume so consumes. Apathetic. Your choice still theirs. The selfishness.
It's album review time.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about your picks.
Oh, you want to talk about my picks? Do you?
Yeah, at least let's start with the ill communication one.
The ill communication one. All right.
You
So
want to go first? Yeah,
I'll
you
go first. I'll go first.
Yeah.
So my 2 picks that I got for everybody this week is all about fun. Because
Is that what you call it?
I call it that. Yes. I found these 2 guys, these 2 different bands. We're gonna start with Ill Communication first.
Yeah.
Death Threats in the Hieroglyphics. It's
Yep.
4 songs.
It was released October 2020.
It was, and I love it.
It's 3 tracks.
Is there only? Oh, that's right. It's only 3 tracks. I'm thinking of a different album. Yeah, it's only 3
Yeah.
tracks. And they had some crazy merch come out recently that I dug.
Oh,
quite a
really?
bit. Yeah.
Like to see that.
They are from the. I'm gonna
Should put a
try to-
link to their merch too.
Yes, I will. But
Okay,
they're
cool.
from Tecapi in Oxnard, California, and
Whoa,
apparently like
it's a
that's
tongue
like
twister.
yeah, and apparently that's kind of like a hotbed for some other hardcore bands out west. So
Okay.
to me, this is what this band sounds like. If you took Disciple AD or Disciple X,
Disciple X AD.
yes, they had like 4 different names, but yeah,
Mhm.
X Disciple X and Brothers Keeper, that whole Lake Effect hardcore, and then you
Mhm.
took it and you took Snapcase and you slammed the two together with some hip hop attitude. You get
What's
this
that
band.
band that sang Jump Around? House of Pain.
House of Pain.
Put some House of Pain in there, bro.
if you throw all that together, it makes this weird, I'm just gonna say it, sassy mix of
Whoa.
hardcore that I love. I can't get enough. It's just fun for me. I hear it and it makes me laugh. And then on top of that,
Wait. Back
What?
it up.
What?
Beep,
I'm backing
beep,
it up.
beep. Sassy that makes you laugh. I don't know what. Come on, I can't wrap my brain around that. What
Can't-
does that mean?
My wife's sassy and she makes me laugh.
So this is like your wife's hardcore?
No, I don't think she likes it too because it's fun.
Okay.
It's
It can
I
be
don't
your
know.
wife's hardcore. That's not a negative thing.
No, like here's the thing. It's the lyrics are very sassy. They're snarky. They're like,
Oh, I
and
gotcha.
then
I
but
gotcha.
because of that, it makes me laugh. Like
Oh, okay. See,
So,
now
yeah.
my brain's catching up.
okay.
I
So
was gonna
and
say
then-
if there's hardcore that you and your wife both like, that's a plus.
oh yeah, well there's lots of that. Like
Really?
that Life Force album.
Oh,
we
good.
both really enjoy that.
Yeah.
And one of yours that you suggested us, we both really dig. But back
Yes,
to
what
back
you
to
guys
these
should have
guys.
liked. Yeah. Okay.
Back to these guys. The song that I really dig is the second song. It's called Ear Goggles and X-Rays. And I don't know if you noticed this or not, but the beginning of the song and especially the end of the song ends with the Sports Center theme.
Oh,
Did you
I talk
notice
about-
that?
I talk about that in my notes.
Oh, okay. That so that like I don't know.
That's
those
so
things-
funny. I'm
Yeah.
gonna yes. I'll wait. I'll wait till my notes come out.
All right. So
Go
for
ahead.
me, it's just a ton of fun. That's why I really dug it. It's 3 songs. I like the album that they put out before that, but to me, this one's just a whole lot of fun. So that's why I picked it. I was like, I'm having fun this time. This is a fun pick for me.
Sure. What track you want to drop right now?
I want this drop the Ear Goggles and X-Rays song.
Ear Goggles and X-Rays. Let's do it.
Dear sons, you shall be judged. The choices you make, the chances you take, the friends you keep, the treasures you seek. We shall be judged. Take way, the will to do the right thing, the will to see another way, the will to do the right thing.
All right, welcome back. We are chatting about, you just heard Ear Goggles and X-Rays from Ill Communication. And now I'm going to give my thoughts on your pick.
All right, do it.
So I honestly wasn't sure what I thought of this at first. It's kind of a mix of hardcore, hip hop influences. And then I gave it more and more listens, and I actually really got into it. I did hear the 2017 release, Ode to the Old Gods, when it came out. And that was less hip hop inspired sounding, I feel like. It still had that like Rage Against the Machine influence in the vocals, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah.
That's probably a really bad comparison, but you know how we just compare things that we know?
Right.
That's I'm doing the old man comparing what I know. Because I remember one time I'm getting off topic a little bit, but I sent my dad one of my bands and he's like, that's cool. I really hear like a Guns N' Roses sound. I'm like, what? It's just like, he's just trying to compare what he knows that's heavier, I guess.
Right.
Anyways, I digress. So you can hear the hip hop elements mixed with hardcore. It's just more subtle on that first record. I still think I like the 2017 release best out of the both releases, yet the new release did grow on me. And after the new EP, and I listened to it a few hours and a few more times, I did really get into it. And I like how the track Ear Goggles and X-Rays, which we just played, and you said this,
Yeah.
has that ESPN Sports Center in the song. I thought that was awesome. I didn't know if that was on purpose, because the band Brothers from Grand Rapids, rest in peace, they have a song called War at Home, and it does the same thing. It does the in their song, and that always makes me laugh. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
113 Miles and Running is my jam on the new EP. I think that is a great song. And so let's drop that now. Boom.
So let's go ahead and do my next album. I got Stepping Stone all the way from Queen City or Saskatchewan, Canada, with Escape from the Junkyard. All right. So first we got to start with the album cover.
Yeah. Well, it was released June 20th.
Yes. June 20th.
2020. And it's 6 tracks.
6 tracks. The album cover looks like a 90s gangster rap album. It's got Junkyard Dogs on it and a semi truck escaping the junkyard. It is, to me, it is thrash / hardcore. It reminds me of Death Angel, Testament, Overkill, a little bit. You might not agree with this. A little bit of Biohazard. I think it's the guitar tone. I think that's what does it. But I don't know. It just, like I said, these two picks for me were just about fun, and it's just fun. Once again, there's some snarkiness to the lyrics that just kind of made me laugh. There's a couple things that they drop every once in a while that are just like out of left field, lyrically, or just like, I don't know. Sometimes when people swear in a song and it just is just different and weird, and it's not just like, cussing the cuss, but just like, just for flavor, I guess, it makes me laugh. And so the first track has that in it. That just, the first time I was like, oh my gosh. And I just laughed really hard. So it just made me really like this band. I don't know. I love, I will always be one of those people that if you have thrash influenced guitar, even with the snotty guitar tone, my ear's going to be drawn to it. So to me, it kind of sounds like a bunch of redneck dudes that got into hardcore that like thrash too. And like, they were like, one day when they were out in the cornfield drinking beer and practicing their slam dancing, listening to Metallica, they were like, hey, let's start a hardcore band. And they kind of mixed it all together. And this is what came out. So I don't drink beer, but I would drink root beer and slam dance to this band.
Fair enough.
So
First
hold
off,
on
okay,
before
sorry,
here
my
we
bad.
go. No, I'm just gonna say, so that's my take. Here comes Wiley's.
So when you sent this over, I thought the album cover looked like something that should be airbrushed on a van in that late 80s.
Yes.
I will say that I do like the heavy guitars and the heavy hitting drums. I like that the drummer and the guitarist find a groove together and play off each other pretty well.
Yeah.
They seem to be really on sync, the drummer and guitar player, which I really, really liked. Did you notice that they go into like this like
Yes.
hardcore groove part? And I was like, this is cool. With that being said, it's just not my style of hardcore personally. Yet I did kind of get like a Madball feel at times with the groove and with the vocals. Sometimes that was the saving grace for me. But you know what? That's all I'm going to say about the album. It wouldn't be polite if I spoke any further about it. So
It's just
And I
not
don't-
your cup of tea.
and I don't really need to pick a song to drop. So I'll let you do that.
All right. So here's what we'll do. I'm gonna drop Escape. We'll do that one because that's the one
Yeah.
that I really dig. So we'll drop
Okay.
that one.
Let's just give the listeners one.
All right, we can do that.
All right, welcome back. You just listened to something from somebody. I'm gonna get into my picks here.
All right.
So I picked, the first one is Power Alone.
Oh,
Album titled Rather Be Alone, released February 2020, 11 tracks. So I dig this band. I really do. It is pretty much beat down hardcore with melodic guitar parts.
Yep.
Normally, this would not be my favorite style of hardcore, but I do have to say that the vocals make me really love this album. It's not just growling, yelling vocals. This album is 11 tracks and it comes in at 22 minutes. and I do really dig this band, but yet for some reason it seemed kind of long for me. Like, I don't know why, but when I saw it was only 22-ish minutes, I was surprised because I was like, that's really not that long.
Right.
And I think I figured out, I think it's because it doesn't really have tons of diversity in the record. Like, a lot of the songs sound very similar, but it's so hard hitting and the band is so super talented. My favorite track is Stay True because it has more of like a punk rock feel, like the drum beat,
Right.
like kicks in more punk rock hardcore, which I really, really dig. And I also like the first track, Self-Fulfilling Prophecy. So let's drop either one of those. Let's drop the first track, Self-Fulfilling Prophecy, now. Cool. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Mick, tell us what you think.
So here's the thing. I'm glad you said something about the vocals because honestly, the vocals are totally insane. Might be, as far as the records that I've listened to this year, might become one of my favorite. It's just unique. And the album for me right now is probably going to be close to one of the picks at the end of the year where I go, this is one of my albums of the year.
Cool.
Kind of like how we did last year.
Yeah.
My wife and I dug this.
This was an album from last year, though.
I thought it was 2021.
No, 2020, February.
Ah, well, dang it. Can't pick it for this year.
It's all good.
But Lindsay and I like this album so much that we actually went and bought merch. Like, it was one of those, we listened to the whole thing and then we're like, okay. And she was already on her phone, like, check this shirt out, check this out. So we bought shirts and the vinyl, like,
cool.
Right
That's
after.
Good.
Yeah.
That's why we do this, right? So people go do that.
Right. And listen, the groove is strong with this band.
The groove
like,
is strong.
The groove is strong with this one. Like, there's times when it kicks in and you're like, oh my gosh. And it kind of, I'm going to go old school a little bit. It doesn't sound like that, but 6 Feet Deep used to have this thing like all their albums would just like.
What band did you say? You kind of
6 Feet Deep.
Okay, you kind of glitched out for a minute.
but they have that kind of a groove every once in a while, and it's not the same thing, but that's what this band does. It just has this groove out of nowhere. That's just it's good stuff. The vocalist is so strong, it almost becomes tougher than the music.
I agree.
Does that make sense? I mean, it's just
No,
like
it does make sense, and it makes it sound different than any other hardcore band that's really out there.
yeah,
Which I really like.
so yeah, I'm really glad you sent this, because it was one of those things that, like, now they're going to become in the rotation a lot. Like,
Good.
I dig it quite a bit. So yeah,
What's your track?
my track is either going to be Where We Stand or the title track, Rather Be Alone. So let's do Where We Stand. That's a good one.
Okay, it's dropping now. Boom.
Boom.
All right. Welcome back. You just listened to Power Alone. And now I'm going to go on to my personal favorite pick
Nice.
out of these four, and maybe my personal favorite pick out of any Coffee and Hardcore release, I think, that we've
wow.
not release, sorry, any Coffee or Hardcore review.
Nice.
This band is called Glorious. The album is called Unashamed, released July 2020, 5 tracks. So Glorious is kind of like a super group in London, UK, for members and other bands in that area. I looked them up. Like you said, I went to go find their merch. Sold out of the 7-inch, or I think it's 7-inch. Yeah, it's 5 tracks. Yeah, sold out. Couldn't find it anywhere. Even went to the old almighty Discogs. Could not get it.
Whoa.
This one is my favorite of the picks of this month, because it's 5 hard-hitting songs with a great message. And by that, like, it's just so real and raw. Like, it's not trying to be super positive, even though it is at times, but it's just being real.
Mhm.
And I feel like the vocalist is just talking about things that I relate with. Mental health issues, sometimes not even wanting to be in my own skin. But positive things also. I just think it's a great mix, message wise. The drummer is out of this world.
Yes.
I went to their social media and looked up, I think their YouTube, they only have 2 or 3 videos, but one is the drummer playing, I think it's one of the tracks, I don't know. And he's just so good. Same with the guitar player. It's crazy. It's just like perfect guitar playing, perfect harmonies and solos. It's just, anyways, the first track, Unashamed, kicks in with killer guitar riff. You got to drop the beginning of this song real quick. When the drums kick in, I go absolutely nuts. Drop it now. Unashamed. Boom! welcome back. One more thing I got to say about this band is the last song on the EP titled I Don't Want to Be Me is my favorite track on this EP. It is a flawless song with so much energy and passion. So we haven't done this before, but I think we need to drop that song right now. Let's do a double drop. Ready?
Ready.
Boom!
Boom.
I don't wanna be. I don't wanna be me. I don't wanna be me anymore.
All right, welcome back. I overpowered Mick with this release, and I dropped 2 tracks in a row. So let's hear from Mick what he thinks.
All right, so I'm with you. It's pure adrenaline. It never slows down from the first time it kicks in. It just keeps going. The snare drum on this album is like a sniper.
Yeah.
It just attacks, not only in the mix, but when you listen to it, you feel attacked. It's like, where's this coming from? Just
I
bam.
love that. I love that you said that.
The song Fake, the interaction between the bass and the guitar is unbelievable. And then on top of that, there's these bass slides. Like, just I don't know. You don't hear a lot of like bass slides in hardcore, and that's one of the things that I love. I love just out of nowhere the and it drops. And that song just has a ton of them in it. It's like, yes.
That's awesome.
It's not your typical run of the mill like hardcore album drop. It's got this experimental feel to it. It sounds, and I sent this to you in a message. It has this sound and this feel that makes it feel like it's important.
Yeah.
Almost
What
like,
did you compare it to?
I compared it to, and I don't think they sound alike. It's just the album feel is the Shape of Punk to Come. The Refuse.
I totally agreed. Yeah.
It like that. I remember like when that album came out, and it wasn't even on my radar, but everybody started saying, "Have you heard this album yet? Have you heard this album yet?" And I was like, I was almost afraid to listen to it because everybody was talking about it. And then everybody said, "This is going to change everything." And it did. Like so many people talk about that album and how it influenced all the stuff kind of that's out now. And I kind of feel the same way about this album. It's like, it's so different and unique. And like you said, the lyrical content it's hopeful, but at the same time, it's real. And it kind of like you kind of have to stop and think. And I'm always like, I talked and joked around about how my picks this month were fun, but my favorite type of hardcore is the ones that make you think. Like you have to stop and go, okay, the music's good and this is all great and all, but what they're talking about, oh my goodness, like we need to have a conversation about it. And that's what I dig about this album.
Yeah, and I love that you compared it to Refuse, The Shape of Punk to Come. And I wonder, like, because that record was so good.
Yeah.
What year did that come out? Like 2000 or 1999 or something?
I think so. Yeah, I busted it out the other day just because, you know, everybody talks about the one song, and I can't remember the title of the song. The one that has the woo
New Noise.
New Noise. Yeah, everybody talks about that song. But man, the second song on the track, the radio
came out in 98, by the way, sorry.
The radio, was it Transmission something? The second song to me, the lyric content in that is
Liberation Frequency.
Yes. The lyric content in that song, like when I listen to that and then I think about everything now, I'm like, gosh, that came out in 1998 and a lot of things that song's talking about played out.
Yeah.
In the last, you know, 10 years. So
it's
I don't
such
know.
a great record. I wonder if they're kicking themselves for making that record just because they can't top it.
Right. I hope this.
I know they're not.
Right.
Ahead, sorry.
I hope this band doesn't do that. I hope this band like continues to release stuff like that because it is.
But I mean, how can you top A Shape to Punk to Come? Even if you're the band who wrote it,
right?
You're like,
True.
Okay, we peaked.
Yeah, true.
We can't write a better record. No one can. That's such a great record.
So yeah. So can we let's drop 3 tracks from this album because it's that good. Can we?
Yeah. Of course.
Awesome. So we're gonna drop Fake right now.
Hold on to your butts.
Unfortunately, it's that time where we say goodbye, listeners. Goodbye. Thanks for spending time with us this month. We greatly appreciate your support.
That's right. Hey, give us a like, give us a follow, help us spread the good news of our podcast to all the ears that you can send it to.
That's right. Next month, we chat with Ruben of the Chicago hardcore band Si Dios Quiere, and also Through and Through.
Yeah. And our wives hop on, and they're going to do the coffee review this time. They're going to talk about their favorite coffee. Yeah.
I'm so excited for that. That's right. I am crazy excited for the next episode of Coffee and Hardcore. Join us next time on the Coffee and Hardcore podcast. Mick Cox, guess what?
We're done.
We're out.
Coffee and hardcore, coffee and hardcore, coffee and hardcore, boom it on. Coffee and hardcore, coffee and hardcore, coffee and hardcore. Do it for the right. We got the double, we got the juice, we got the dope, we got the reviews, we got the gold from you out the border. If you like the back, you better support them. Coffee and hardcore, coffee and hardcore, coffee and hardcore, boom it on. Coffee and hardcore, coffee and hardcore, coffee and hardcore. Come on, try to run.
Deal with it, nerds.